Finding the right foundation shade with the perfect tone and undertone, it's a lot harder than you might think, especially when you don't have the option to try the products at the store, because you know, COVID, there are no testers. And buying online has always been a questionable experience, hasn't it? And no, El Maquiage, your foundation quiz is not amazing. In the words of the wise Ali Andrea,
when it comes to the skin and when it comes to foundation, it's more than just warm and cool, because our skin could be warm olive, or it could be neutral olive, warm golden. Like, there are so many variations, and I'm here to tell you that if you did not find your foundation color until this day, I get you, because it's damn hard.
So nowadays, you pretty much have no idea what you're buying, if it's gonna look good or not, unless you know exactly what you need, like repurchasing a foundation that you already know works for you. So today's video, I'll show you the process of mixing these 3 different shades of the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation to find the perfect match for me. So maybe it can help you fix a foundation that you already bought and that you really like, but it's just not looking, you know, the best. So let's get to the mixing and figuring out the right ratio for my face. All right, so this is Luciana without makeup. So I got my 3 shades over here. First, let's do swatches on my cheek to see what each one of these shades look on their own. Give it a good shake. So this is 010 Cool Cashmere, this is 015 Warm Vanilla, and this is 046 Neutral Toffee. Now we have seen from my Catrice haul video where I did the swatches that this foundation oxidizes, right? So it changes color after a while. And you can see the Cool Cashmere already changing colors on the edges. The 046 Neutral Toffee is obviously too dark for me, and this 015 Warm Vanilla is just wrong. This was a shade that on the online quiz from Catrice on their website, it said that it was a perfect match for me. I'm like, not sure. And I feel like the 010 Cool Cashmere is the one that matches the most, like in between my neck and face. It is too light for me, but that's the purpose of today's video, trying to fix that. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend it, because nobody just apply foundation like that and leave it. So let's wait 10 to 15 minutes to see if they're gonna oxidize further, you know, how it's gonna look once it's like settled. So then we can decide, you know, which proportions we're gonna do here. Anyway, I'll tell you the story of how I ended up buying 3 different shades of the same foundation when I'll be finishing my makeup later on. All right, so some time has passed, and well, these studio lights are a bit tricky because things are not always what they seem with these lights, but I think they're done oxidizing. You can see the 010 Cool Cashmere. It's kind of like a good match, but it's still a little bit pale. Like, I feel like if this color would be all over my face, it would be too much, like too, you know, pale. But it's pretty close, so I don't think I'm gonna need too much of these colors to fix this one, you know. So I'm gonna go clean my face and let's start mixing. Right, so my initial thought process was that if you mix a cool undertone foundation with the warm undertone one, you can get neutral. And mixing a lighter shade with a darker shade will get you something in the middle. Pretty straightforward, right? But actually, that might not always work. And according to the research I've done, the theory here is that you should first neutralize the tone you don't want by using the opposite color in the color wheel, and then add the tone you do want. So in my case, since I have a neutral undertone and the Cool Cashmere here is the one that is the closest to my skin tone, if I wanted to fix this shade, which has a cool undertone, I would first need to neutralize the pink undertone and then add neutral. So let's pull up a color wheel from the internet. I'll put one on the screen for you too. Cool undertones have pinks, reds, and blues, right? So it's this area over here. So I would need something on the orange, yellow area in order to neutralize it. I just want to clarify that I understand that green is actually the opposite color to pink on the color wheel, but this is a very basic solution when you don't have color adjusters. So by using yellow to neutralize pink or bluish tones is the next best thing. So warm vanilla, come here. So I'm gonna mix 1 pump of the Cool Cashmere and 1 pump of the warm vanilla. Let's see what we get. So that's almost equal parts here. So let's try that. This time I'm also gonna put on the neck so we can see how it transitions to the neck color. The scent of this foundation is quite strong. I feel like it's a bit too warm still for me. I feel like I need more of the Cool Cashmere and less of the warm vanilla. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix that ratio of 2/3 of the Cool Cashmere and 1/3 of the warm vanilla, and I'm gonna apply on this side, and let's see how they compare after they're done oxidizing. Cool Cashmere, and just a dab, a little tip of the warm vanilla. The formula on this foundation is beautiful. Thank you, Catrice, for coming up with it. And this hyperpigmentation on my mustache it's really bad, huh? Very annoying. It started after I started shaving my mustache. Yeah, bad idea. still looks too dark for the neck. But I feel like this is looking pretty good, so I don't think I'm gonna need to add a neutral to it. I think they balanced each other out really nicely. And also because this neutral is not really my skin tone. It's a darker skin tone, although it's the correct undertone. Yeah, this is not gonna go to waste. I can still use this for some light contouring. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, go ahead and hit the like button. You know, I appreciate the feedback. All right, how are these looking? Yeah, this is definitely a bit too orangey still. I think this one looks a lot better. I still think that after oxidizing still look a bit too warm, right? You can see this like difference on the neck. This area here is the more like pale neutral, and here's the, you know, warmer. I didn't pull this side all the way down here, but yeah, it's definitely warm as well, like too orangey. Since the tone is right, I don't think I'm gonna try to use the Neutral Toffee together with the Cool Cashmere, because I was thinking like maybe, you know, instead of using the warm vanilla, let's forget everything we learned about color theory and just try to mix a neutral foundation with the cool foundation. You know what, for the sake of the video, and we're already here mixing things and wiping it off, so why not? Let's try that. I want to put just a little bit of the Neutral Toffee together with the Cool Cashmere and try it on. A little bit of the Neutral Toffee, just a tad bit. That might have been too much. Okay, maybe a little bit more of the Cool Cashmere. If this works well for me, it's just a tiny, tiny little bit of the Neutral Toffee. Okay. Now let's wait and see.
15 minutes later.
Okay, people, yeah, respect the color theory. Okay. There's a reason why it works. This side is, it just looks like a darker pink, because this side looks a lot better than this side, right? Because we didn't really fix the pink undertone, right? The cool undertone from the first foundation. And then we added a darker shade of neutral. So yeah, it just looks like dark and pink. Okay, so I think we have a winner. This is a good match, but I still think I'm gonna do more of the 010 Cool Cashmere and just a dab of the warm vanilla, the 015 warm vanilla, because I still feel like over here, it kind of like still looks too warm, you know. But on the cheek, I mean, it looks good. Yeah, it really canceled out the pink, and it's not looking that orangey.
Anyway,
010 Cool Cashmere with just a little bit of 015 warm vanilla. I think that's the winner. So I'm gonna clean my face. I'm gonna prime, because
not to prime is a
crime. You get to stay.
and let's apply it all over the face. Oh, I wanted to tell the story of how I ended up buying 3 different shades of the same foundation. Let me tell you. I decided to buy the True Skin Hydrating foundation after Tati recommended it, and there's only one pharmacy here in Israel that sells Catrice. So I went over there and I immediately got overwhelmed with the wide shade range they had. Just kidding, they had only like 3 shades available. So I got the shade 010 because I thought it was the one that would suit me best. Now the problem was, first, the only light shade they had a cool undertone, and I couldn't try it at the store since there are no testers, you know, because of the virus. And I know some of you are gonna say, but why did you buy it if you knew it wouldn't work for you? The answer to that, my friend, is, well, I don't really have a good reason other than I really wanted to buy this foundation. And I thought it wouldn't look that bad with some contouring, you know, maybe some bronzer. But it did. I looked pale than pink with this foundation. Not a good look. My husband told me I looked like Morticia Addams from the Addams Family when I used this foundation. Right, so the color was off, I looked weird. Pretty, but weird. Pretty weird. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I need to buy the right shade because I really want to use this foundation. Like, the formula seems amazing. So I went to Catrice's website to use their shade finder and see what would be the perfect match for me according to the other foundations that I use. And it came out with 015 Warm Vanilla. I was puzzled since I don't have a warm undertone, like I said before. And neither one of the foundations I used in the quiz had a warm undertone either. So I was like, okay, maybe they know better, but usually they don't. And yeah, I'm still looking at you, Il Makiage. So I checked the drugstore's website here in Israel that sells Catrice to see if they had that shade, the 015 Warm Vanilla, and they didn't. And then I thought, instead of giving up on the shade 010 that I already bought, maybe I could buy a darker shade with a warm undertone to mix with it and hopefully fix my problem. But lack of options showed up again, and there was no darker warm shade available. But they had 046 Neutral Toffee, which has a neutral undertone, as you can tell by the name. And because I'm stubborn as fuck, I went ahead and bought that shade. My thought process was that since 010 looked weird, but not that bad, I thought that a neutral darker shade could work for what I had in mind. But now we already know that it doesn't. So yeah, lesson learned. Research how to fix a foundation shade before you buy another one. How I ended up with the warm vanilla is that my mind couldn't let go of the fact that I wouldn't have the perfect shade, according to their quiz, to match my complexion. I needed to have 015 warm vanilla in my hands to see if their quiz algorithm was good or not. Also because in the back of my head, I still needed the foundation with a warm undertone to fix a cool undertone. And so I dived deep into the Hebrew to English Google translated shopping experience that is basically my life here in Israel, trying to find a store that had that coveted 015 shade. And there it was, in KSP. And so I added it to the cart. Great! But then I started looking at the other Catrice products they had, and then it was game over for my wallet. And that's why you got a Catrice haul a few videos back. If you want to see all the Catrice products I got with that order, you can check out this video. The link is in the description as well. And that, my friends, is how I ended up with 3 different shades of the same foundation in my hands. The 010 Cool Cashmere, 015 Warm Vanilla, and 046 Neutral Toffee. Alright, and that's it for today's video. What do you think about the shade match? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, if it gave you an idea of how to fix a foundation that you already have but it's not looking quite right, please let me know in the comments. Hit the like button, you know, I appreciate the support and feedback. I hope you have a lovely week ahead of you, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye!